So it's the day after my first round of chemo. I feel fine. That's really the answer to the big question, how do you feel? Today was a good day, and I'm hoping that this continues for as long as possible. So let's recall what happened yesterday. Let's talk about the chemo. I think Mum's biggest reaction was she was glad she came, and she's glad she understands and could see what it's all about. So this is all a learning experience, and let me share what my experience was. So I arrived at 9 a.m. I had a 9:15 a.m. appointment with the oncologist. I had a long list of questions, had to write everything down, really struggling to absorb information. There's a lot to take in. I had my appointment with her. I went through a lot of my questions, which was really useful. And then I went off to go to get the drugs that they give you. There's a whole range of different ones, and I might go through that at another stage when I can explain it in more detail. But basically, you get a cannula into my left hand. It's still a little bit sore. I've got a little bit of a mark. You can barely see it. And they pump you full of toxic drugs of different sorts. Mine had to get stopped. They had to reorder it in the middle of the procedures, because I had to go get another procedure done, which is they put a clip into the tumour. Basically what happens is they check on the tumour, and the doctor comes in, gives me a little bit of anaesthetic onto the chest, inserts a long needle, and then injects a little tiny thing that's meant to be, they said it's the size of a grain of rice. And the purpose of that is that once I go through chemo, they're hoping that it will shrink it so much down that they may not be able to find the tumour again. And so I guess this is their way of, when they do the surgery, that they'll be able to easily find the clip. So I got that done. That didn't take too long. I might have been there maybe 45 minutes or so, probably less than that. And then I went back up. You're basically sitting in these big armchairs. There's not much space. There was, only a couple of spare seats for guests. So Mum was kind of squished in. I felt really bad for her. They did very generously bring her lunch. By the end of the day, it was 5:30 before we left the hospital. So I'm not expecting it to be that long next time. My kind of attitude is to try to continue to stay positive. I guess there's a couple of things I've done to cope. My first thing is that I decided to tell people what was going on. That was a good thing for me. Owning it, telling people my story was important. The next thing I decided to do was to create a Spotify list, and I got all my friends to contribute to it. And the aim was that it was going to be what I'd listen to during the chemo, but I've been listening to it just, on the tram, at work, at the gym. So that's all been really positive for me as well. And the other thing is, I bought this book a while ago at the airport. It was an airport purchase when I went to visit my girlfriend, my best friend Jasmine in Sydney. And it's called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. And if anything I could use right now is probably this book. But there was a sentence in it yesterday. The chapter is called "You Are Not Special." It is good. It's a good book. Anyway, I'm going to read you this sentence. This sentence says, "The true measure of self-worth is not how a person feels about her positive experiences, but rather how she feels about her negative experiences." And I thought, it's so true. In life, the way I interpret that, and it's probably a slightly different interpretation than what Mark Manson intended in that particular sentence, given the context of that chapter. But for me, it made me think, I've learnt so much more in the tough times, and I think I've had my fair share of tough times. I've had plenty of medical health issues in my life. I've had challenges, and we all have. We've all gone through a lot of shit that people, don't necessarily know about. But it's those bad times that we really learn. And I'm kind of thinking about that with cancer. It's kind of like, okay, so I get to experience this. It's another life experience. It's like, remember that time I fought cancer and I won? Yeah, that's how I'm looking at this, and I'm choosing to be positive. I think I'm in a good mindset, and I think that's, they say with health you've got to stay positive. So I'm just breaking it down and going, oh well, we've all been nauseous. I think all those women out there have had kids, have gone through nausea, they've gone through pain, they've gone through tiredness. I'm like, I haven't experienced that, so I've just got something shitty inside me I want to get rid of, as opposed to something wonderful like a baby that you want to get out for good reasons. So I'm just breaking it down. It's just a process. It's just something I've got to get through. And fortunately, it's not so scary. People have been wanting to ask questions, and I'm very open to questions. Like, I don't know the first thing about cancer. I'm learning every day. I don't have the answers to most questions that people ask me, but all I can do is share my own story and share what this has been for me, and I'll continue to share that. So day 1 post chemo, or day 2 as they might be calling it, so far so good.